Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at a Minolta-16 MG. Who hasn't wanted to own a spy camera? This came in a display case. I got it for $80. On eBay they're worth anywhere between $30 and $150. This particular one is in good condition. It came with the manual, which was handy, although you can certainly get these online anyplace. There was the camera, the flash, and a case for the flash, and a case for the camera. These were built from 1966 to 1970. They also sold as a Review 16. I purchased a kit just like this, new in Japan, in the presentation case. This particular one I got years later after I sold mine at a flea market. I wished I hadn't. Minolta made much larger 16mm cameras for several years, and then they downsized it to the 16 MG. It was much smaller than their previous versions. They were called spy cameras, but probably very few spies actually used them. Most, if there was a spy camera, it was probably the Minolta was the most widely used spy camera. Ironically, these sold to everybody in these presentation cases, but the CIA bought a lot of them and they gave them to their employees as gifts and in their presentation cases. This, of course, used 16mm film with a 10x14 image size. The aperture was f2.8 to f16. The shutter speeds from 1/30th of a second to 1/250th of a second. It has a selenium light meter with a matched needle system. It uses a Rocore 20mm f2.8 lens. It has manual exposure settings and a built-in close-up lens. So let's just take a quick look at it. On the front, that's the lens, and there are two little levers for the lens cap and the built-in close-up attachment. If you push the lens cap like that, it closes both the lens cap and the close-up attachment. If you push back on just the lens cap, then you have the close-up attachment in place, and if I slide that back, then you have the lens exposed to take pictures. That's the input to the selenium light meter, and of course that's the viewfinder. On the camera top, this is the exposure meter window with the matching needles, and I'll turn the one needle so you can see it. This is the exposure control ring. There's a red dot at the top, and that shows you the selected f-stop, and there's a black dot on the edge or the bottom here, and that would show you the selected shutter speed on this dial. To change the film speed, actually it's the same dial. You turn it all the way to the limit, and then you just push real hard and you can change the film speed in steps. And I'll go to the right and you can see the film speed, and I can click it a couple times and I've selected a new film speed, ASA 200. Here you can see I have set it near the window to pick up some sunlight and move that red dial, and I moved the exposure dial to match the needles. Now we're reading almost f5.6 and maybe an 80th of a second exposure. This is the film advance wheel, and you advance the film like this, and then this is the shutter release button. And every time you advance it, and it's about 1/3 of a turn, the red dial moves across for the film counter, starts at 20 and counts down to 0. It also has a lock, so if the window was closed on the shutter and you cocked it, you can't you can't take an exposure accidentally, so you have to have the windows open before the shutter release will work. You get the idea. When you get to the end of the roll of film, which is indicated by the E for end or empty, in this case you can just keep winding and keep on shooting. Looks like forever. Perhaps if I had a real cartridge in, it would just either hang up and not let me wind it, or you would feel it moving more freely. I don't know, it's been years since I had any film in one of these cameras. On the camera back, that's the viewfinder eyepiece. This little switch is for the flash unit. If it's to the left, it's really where it shows like the sun image. That's for taking pictures without flash. And if it's to the right, what it does is it automatically sets the shutter speed to 1/30th of a second. And this little lever on the right is how you open the film back. Or changing film. It flew right out. The film comes in cartridges, and you want cartridges that are made for the Minolta-16 MG. I'll do that again. I remember when I first had mine, the cartridges were hard to find and they were expensive. You had to buy them where you could. You couldn't shop around. It wasn't like today with the internet. On the left side is a PC sync socket, so you could supply external electronic flashes. And on the right side, there's a special sync socket and this little wrist strap which screws into a tripod socket. If I take that out, that's a sort of standard tripod socket. And here's the flash unit that goes with it. And this tripod socket goes in there. And this probe connects to the sync port. And you turn this clockwise to tighten it in. And now we're set up to take flash pictures, so we would move the little lever to the flash position, advance the shutter, and if I had a battery in it right now, it would take a flash exposure when I press the button. But there is no battery in it right now. This little lever right here is to eject the flash bulb, like so. And again, to put the flash bulbs in, you just press them in the slot. And when you press them in, it pushes this little lever in the back. This whole top slides off to change the battery, and the battery goes in there. Here's the instruction manual, or the owner's manual. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.